Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the M43, M43, it's the M40 M43. It's the Tier 8 American SPG. This one's located on the east spawn of Malinovka Encounter, and it's under the command of Angelina75 of OLIMP, and it's her first entry for this week's competition to win the weekend line. Now, I fluffed my entry there by saying that it was the M43, because it is the M43, and I know that because that's the 8-inch howitzer. And how can I tell that? Well, the barrel doesn't extend over the front of the vehicle, it's fat and short, and that is the 8-inch howitzer. If it was the 155mm gun, it would extend over the front of the vehicle, it'd be long and thin. So there's the difference between two, and that would make it the M40, by the way, as well. But note, this is an M43, based on the M4 hull, but with a very big howitzer on it. Now, as you can see, it's capable of doing 900 alpha, 52mm pen, 10.5 meters on the burst radius, 12.5 to 28 seconds of stun. And Angelina's decided to take it much closer to the action, because of course that's going to take place at the top of the hill. And Angelina wants a piece of it. Oh, look at this. Juicy targets coming up. She's lined up, rounds out, and
That was close.
just a fraction of a second too late on the Skoda. But the idea is to actually keep all of those enemy tanks stunned, and therefore every time one of your teammates hits him, you're going to be picking up stun assist. Now, as you may know, the M43 did see action during World War II. Just one vehicle was actually sent over to Europe and was actually used by the 991st Field Artillery Battalion to test it out.
That was close.
It was then used extensively in Korea, of course, because of course that was not that long after, 7 years after the Second World War. We went to war again in Korea, or rather it was the UN action. In fact, that war has never ended. It's still ongoing, although they've just ceased hostilities for the meanwhile. But that could resume if the current actions heat up in any sense. North Korea is actually dropping balloons filled with rubbish and garbage and refuse, and they're dropping those balloons to drift across the south border and then fall on South Korea. It's not an action of war, it's not a casus belli, but it certainly is very, very nasty for somebody to be dropping a bag full of feces in your back garden. Not exactly what you want to happen. Of course, the problem for the North Koreans is that we're sending back balloons in their direction which actually contain, would you believe it, chocolate pies. Yes, there's a lot of South Koreans who have relatives in North Korea, and they actually send them these treats, these moon pies, which the North Koreans absolutely love. And so, yes, although the North Korean government sends refuse across the border, we send chocolates back at them. Lining up another shot, rounds out straight away, good. Direct hit for 224, and the target has been destroyed. Now, the FB207 on our team is actually commenting that we've got Muppets on our team. They're sort of indicating there are players on our team who are just sitting back and doing nothing whilst all the action's going on at the top of the hill. And it appears that we are winning the fight at the top of the hill. We're 2 up on the enemy. They've just lost their third man, which is great, but the fact is now that there are still a number of enemy, 8 enemy out there for us to kill. Now, if you don't know about the competition, it happens every week between Angelina75 and Talon 1958. they both have a contest to win the weekend lie-in. You see, every Sunday morning, little Remy gets up and he loves to run around the house and play with his toys and switch on the computer and watch videos. Sometimes he watches our videos, and he likes to do that. And of course, there has to be an adult up there as well to prepare his breakfast. And so somebody gets a lie-in and the other person actually has to get up. And so there's a contest going on to get the best battle, the best Arty game. And whoever wins that game gets to stay in bed for a little while longer. Or the one who actually loses has to get up. Direct hit, right on the money. Lorraine 40-ton tank has very little armor and took a loss of 458 hit points from the upper plate. You can see the mark where it landed. And he's taking fire, but he got rid of his stun and he's out the game. There's now only 7 enemies remaining. Now, they actually had to lengthen the hull of the M4 in order to fit these howitzers on, because the vehicle itself didn't have the ability to carry so much extra weight. So they had to lengthen the hull, and they used the horizontal volute suspension system to distribute all that weight over the entire length of the vehicle. It has a fairly narrow arc as well, 18 degrees either side of the center line, so 36 degrees in total. Some people find that a bit narrow, others might say that's okay, that they can handle that. Here's another firing position. Angelina moves about the battlefield a lot, and that's good because it means that she can't be counter-batteried, because it's very, very difficult to counter-battery somebody you don't know where they're going to be. Now, the way the team's playing at the moment, they're studiously avoiding the cap area. Nobody's going near it, but of course there are plenty of enemy tanks to the north side of the lake. Okay, a Scorpion G's just been found and has just been wiped out. Now, according to the map, a guard was actually spotted on the approach to the north of the hill. That's a possibility. There might be somebody up there, and that the enemy sent someone up to find out where all our tanks went, because of course, as soon as we'd won the hill, instead of actually going down the other side, we actually turned around and came back the opposite way. Looking in the tree line, you can see plenty of trees that have been knocked down. Good indication that somebody was preparing a defense. And at last, one of our team, the T69, went into the cap. And he's starting to put cap pressure on them. Of course, being that it's an encounter game, it takes twice as long to cap out. And the Ferdinand's moving up as well. Now, that might help. Oh, we just saw the enemy RTs definitely in that lake, just in the inlet. So we're firing around in there to try and get a hit. I think that would have been close to the enemy RT. They've got a Lorraine 155-51 and an M40 M43. So we've currently got 2 in the cap, but we could put more. But for the fact, of course, the enemy Arty is firing shells in there. They're trying to get resets. So we're looking for the tracer. Oh, somebody's been spotted. It's a Strip 130 PM. Very thin armor. Rounds out. You see the shell took a little while to get there, but it did stun him. FE207 is also firing in that general direction. And we just lost one of our tanks, the Scorpion G. And he was killed by that SU-130 PM. So going back to where the Arty was last seen. It's always clues to where the enemy might be. You might see the tracer only a short distance away. I think we heard the whoosh of a shell coming out from the woods to the north of the inlet. The enemy's decided to send the SU-130 PM in to try and do a spot for the Arty. Rounds out, he's pulling back into the shell. Oh, beautiful one! It was a direct hit, but I think it hit the tracks, and that's why it didn't pen. It would have penned otherwise. And he's actually gone down, so she did get that one. And I think did they get another one? Well, there's another tracer. So somebody is north of the inlet now. Now, one of the bad things about the M43 is that you don't get many shells. Only 16 in total. It's one of those ones with an extreme shell shortage. So you have to be very careful to load the right shells. Otherwise, it could become very difficult. Okay, G-Saw's in sight. Rounds out. Angelina's getting closer to the enemy to shorten the length of time between spotting the enemy, dialing in, and shooting. The standard reload is 44.1 seconds. Angelina's got 36.13. And that target's just been killed. G-Saw's out. So, Angelina can now move in on the enemy because there's only 3 enemy left. 2 of those are Arty. So she can motor towards the cap area, keep the cap pressure going. Now, you may have seen recently a Klaus Kellerman video where somebody, one team was left with 5 tanks, and there was only 1 person left on the enemy team. And although he didn't manage to get a collar ban off because he couldn't find the last enemy, and the last enemy was an Arty. And funnily enough, it was an M43. And the reason that they didn't win was because the M43 did not go to the enemy cap and start putting cap pressure on to win the game. And as a consequence, they just didn't have time to cap out, and the game was a draw. Now, that should never have happened. Oh, that enemy Arty was in the dip. And it was the M43, so which means now the Lorraine 15551 was the one that was spotted north of the inlet. There's only 2 left on the enemy team now, the Guard and the Lorraine. So now will be a good time to move towards the cap area and keep that pressure up on the enemy, although we would need at least more than 1 player to join us in the cap. There's the Lorraine. Okay, we can stop driving and... Oh, we don't need to. He's been killed. Okay, so now it's just the Guard left. We need more than 1 player on our team to join us in the cap to stop the enemy from, or stop anyone from losing the game or getting a draw.
That was close.
It looks like the rest of the team are intent on killing all the team. And of course, that was the mistake they made in the Klaus Kellerman video. They didn't bother to actually stick somebody in the cap to make it absolutely certain they would win the game. As a consequence, the enemy managed to stay alive long enough to force a draw. The other mistake that the enemy made in that game was... Oh, and he just got spotted by the Guard. Now he needs to get behind that rock quick. As fast as he can. The Guard's reloading. He's got a 122mm. And unfortunately, he got a high roll and wiped him out. It's 390 alpha from that Guard. And he did manage to get a kill shot. If he'd been behind the rock, he would have been safe, or Angelina would have been safe. But the Guard's been killed, so it is a win. Here's the end of battle result, and that was the 3rd class tanker for Angelina75 in the M40 M43. She got a Bruce medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, and well, it's showing 4, but she probably must have got 5. And she also managed to get a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on her team. At least 6 tanks subsequently taken out by other teammates. Her win rate from that game, 1,554, which is very good, or good at least. And despite the fact that she was wiped out in the game, the fact is she was doing it correctly. she was supposed to go into that cat, keep putting cat pressure on the enemy so that he has to come and reset, and then he could be spotted and killed. So I do salute Angelina for doing what she did, because yes, she said sometimes you have to take one for the team to win, and she did exactly that, and it worked. So very well done indeed. If you look at team score, we can see the highest damage actually went to the guard on the enemy team, 2,748 hit points of damage. Second highest damage went to the Borsig Waffenträger with 2,569 hit points. And the third highest damage went to the Scorpion G on the enemy team, 2,517. Angelina picked up 1,581 out of that game, which puts her mid-table. But of course, remember, she did get the Confederate because she was hitting as many of the enemy as she could. When it came to Lorraine, by the way, he actually got a defender for resetting the cap enough times to pick up at least 70 defense points. When it came to kills, we can see the high scorer was the Borsig. 3 kills to him. The Pershing got 3. The Carnarvon got 3. 2 kills went to the Forest Spirit and the T103. And 3 players on the enemy team, the Scorpion G, the Skoda T56, and the Lorraine 15551 all got 2 kills as well. Angelina didn't get any kills, but of course that earned her the Confederate. And when it came to base XP, well, only 705 base XP in this one, funnily enough. But the high score was the Pershing, 1,061, the only player to get over 1,000 base, with 920 going to the Borsig, who picked up the Pascucci's medal, so he must have got both enemy Artys, and 910 went to the FP207, so he was doing playing a good game as well. 12 shots fired, 4 direct hits, no penetrations, but 11 splash. Damage of 1,581 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Received 2 hits from the enemy, the guard. The first one was a non-penetration. The second one was a penetrating shot, and he got a high roll to take her out, actually, because he's only got a 390 alpha, but he still managed to get 400 hit points to get the kill. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, none were killed, so of course just got the Confederate, but Angelina did get 920 hit points of stun assist off 11 stuns. On a free-to-play account, she actually made a loss in that game of 8,059 credits, but she did actually use consumables at half price, so you can see there, or at least on that particular day, I think it was half price consumables, and she got 15,000 mission completion bonus as well out of that one. 1,410 experience points out of it as well. So yes, that was she did end up getting killed, but it was at least setting down a marker of a 3rd-class tanker, bruiser, and a Confederate. And now Talon has to beat that in order to get a higher score to get the Weekend Lion. So Angelina sent in a second replay immediately after she sent in this one. So let's have a look at that replay and see if she can better her score. The second replay is in the GW Tiger P, the Tier 8 German SPG, and on the south spawn of El Halluf. Game on. Well, I spy no muzzle brake at the end of that howitzer, so that must be the 21 centimeter howitzer, the big heavy one, which is actually the same one you get on the Tier 10 SPG, the GW 100. 900 alpha, 53mm pen, 11.4 meters on the burst radius, and between 12.5 and 31 seconds of stun. So it's a big gun. It also has a fairly long reload as well, 44.1 seconds. Angelina's got 36.13, so she's lowered it by, well, nearly 8 seconds. Takes a little while to get here. It's a bit of a snail, really. It's one of the few Artys in the game that I've actually put a turbo on just to get it moving faster. But no, actually, seriously, you are much better off using the gun lane drive, the rammer, and of course a improved rotation device so that you can actually dial in quicker when you change the gun. It's got a fairly narrow arc, only 5 degrees either side of the center line. Rounds out, looks good. Very good, because you actually hit 2 tanks with 1 shot. Most damage to the Skoda T56, who was just driving by but took the brunt of that one. And looks like we got stun assist out of that one as well. Okay, looking at the targets. Angelina's trying to determine where to put the best shell. She's changed position, but she's only just pulled back a little bit. I don't think the enemy's going to be doing counter battery at this stage in the battle. It's a tier 9 game with tier 8 tanks, and the enemy's got a Lorraine 155-51, and Angelina's next shot damages the TL7 rather. And he is taking damage, so we're picking up stun assist. I must admit, I do like hitting the tanks that try to come around that corner, if they do, because it really does upset them. And that TL7, well, he's made a bit of a boo-boo by going into the center area, because he's very exposed there. And unless his teammates backing him up, he's in trouble. Well, he does have backup, and there's a Scorpion G down there. We might be able to get shots on that guy, but we fire on the Progetto, and unfortunately it hits the walls of the castle. Or the battlements up there. A profusion of targets for us to hit. Okay, TS-54 takes up the position of the TL7. Now, ideally to hit this one, because of course he's got two guns. Double dangerous. Now line it up. That's it. Rounds out. Looks good. Lands behind him, but it's 148 and it did track him. Doesn't appear to be any RT moving about on this side of the battlefield or in the valley. Wow, that Scorpion G's got 3 marks of excellence on the barrel. You can see it there. So he's an experienced tank destroyer expert. Let's see if we can put a round into him. More than likely it would penetrate a Scorpion G. One of the things Arty players can do is select their target by knowing how much armor they actually have, and if there's a chance they will penetrate the target. So a Scorpion G, when it's in the open like that, is a primary target because of course we know we can get the shell through their skin. 3 tanks are now in the center, and that means that we can do a lot more damage with the non-stun HE on these guys, but we do want the stun assist if we can get it, so we're staying with standard stun at the moment. And she's lined it up for 2 tanks who are operating together. She's loaded. Rounds out. Oh, well, she got something off the TL7, but they pulled apart just at the moment the shell was fired. She's telling her teammates, though, that she is aiming at these guys. She's marked the TL7, so she's saying to everyone, that's my primary target, but she's operating shells into that area. Look at this tank here. 3 guys together. It's so easy to hit them when they're all 3 together at the same time. And very, very silly, actually, for the enemy to make that mistake. She fires the round in, and oh, very close. 106, but it keeps him stunned. And he goes down, so we got the stun assist off that one. Angelina's slowly but surely picking up damage. It's not a huge amount so far, though. Ooh, that didn't work. That was the TL7 killing our M103. But the TL7's just gone down as well. Of course, the TL7's a new tier 9. And we stun the 704 as he's backing down there. So we've won the corner. Over on the north side of the map, we can see this AMX AC-48 going all defensive. He knows our guys are moving up, especially our Cobra. And working on the basis that he's still there, she's marked the corner to say, that's where I'm aiming, that's where I'm looking. And she's perfectly right, because there is somebody there, and somebody just got a big hit. It really does help if you let your teammates know that's where you're looking for your next shot. Because if they know that that's where you're looking, they're going to focus on shells going into that region that are going to stun the enemy or stop them in their tracks, like that shot there on the Centurion, which tracked him. He had to repair his tracks to get moving, but he still took a round up the rear. Okay, we're going to go for it again. 469 on stun assist there. And that 3-ring Scorpion's gone very defensive now. He's joined the Arty at the back of the map. So we're trying to hit the Centurion because he's their spotter. He's the one who's actually trying to go defensive. They're trying to spot for his team. Angelina fires. Oh, beautiful shot right on the engine deck. 546 hit points. Wipes out the Centurion. They've got no spotter now. There's only 2 of them left, the Scorpion and the Lorraine 15551. They're both in the corner. The Scorpion goes down. And, oh, not in the corner. The other one was hiding round the corner. But he's been spotted. I'm not sure if we're going to have a shell in time, but he goes down to the Cobra. And that is the end of the battle. Very well played. Well, that was a much better game by Angelina75 of OLIMP in the GW Tiger P. I don't think it was her fault that the first game wasn't so great, but I think it was mostly down to her teammates who weren't being aggressive when she actually was stunning the enemy. In this one, she was getting the stun assist off them, and she was placing some really good shells in the right spots at the right time. That was the first class tanker from Angelina75 of OLIMP in the GW Tiger P. She managed to get a bruiser medal again for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, she managed to get 10. And she got another Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on her team. And again, as I keep saying, the Confederate medal is really important to get because it shows you're spreading the Arty love all over the enemy. And it proves to your teammates that you are working as hard as you can to help them to win the game by hitting as many targets that they're shooting at. Not only so you can pick up the stun assist, but also to make it easier for them to get the kills. Because if you've hit the enemy, in order to qualify for a Confederate, you have to hit enemy which are then killed by your teammates. And so you're providing the enemy, or your teammates rather, with easy kills. That win 8 was 2,211, which is very good indeed, just short of a Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, much higher up the table in this one because the Cobra got the highest damage with 3,669, but didn't get the high caliber, wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest damage went to the M103 on our team, 3,271. And the third highest damage, well, that went to a Centurion 7-1 on our own team, who got a steel wall and 2,837 hit points of damage. That 3-marked Scorpion, by the way, he was their best player on the enemy team. 2,482 hit points of damage, so quite a lot. He was a primary target when you see someone like that with 3 marks on their barrel, but within a tank destroyer with very thin armor. If you, as an Arty player, take out that really good player, then you are changing the entire battle for your team. You're helping your team to win by removing their best experienced player from the keyboard, from the battlefield. It really does make a difference selecting the enemy by the target and how easy it is to actually penetrate it, get a penetrating shot and kill it, and therefore enable your team to win the game. Angelina got 1,733 hit points. She was beaten by 5 members of her own team and 3 members on the enemy team, which means that she's actually in 9th place when it came to damage. The Chieftain, by the way, got a Confederate as well because he was very, very active pumping rounds into the enemy. When it came to kills, we can see the Cobra got 5. The Waffenträger of Panzer IV and the TS-54 on the enemy team both got 3 kills. 2 kills went to the Centurion 7-1. Angelina did get 1 kill, and it was a good one. The Centurion 7-1 with an engine deck shot that went right through and punctured him and took him out the game with just like that. And when it came to base XP, Angelina's in 3rd place because the Cobra managed 1,104. The Centurion 7-1, 1,053, and then finally we got Angelina with 958. She fired 10 rounds in the game, so much better, good result. 1 direct hit, 1 penetrating shot, which I think must be that. Let's go back and see. Was it the Centurion? Yes, it went right through his engine deck. 778. Very, very well done, that one. Lovely shot. So she also got 12 splashes from 10 shots. So she was multiple splashing. 1,733 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 1 of them. And 2,095, or is it 2,096 hit points of stun assist off 12 stuns. On a free play account, she actually made a loss, but it's only 701 credits, so it's easy enough. And Angelina also got 1,916 experience points out of that one as well. And she says, I'm really starting to like this piece. Yes, because it can do a lot of damage. And when you place the shell in the right spot, it can change battles because it's got a big footprint and it just does a lot of damage to the enemy if it hits right. So very well played there. Angelina has now set the task for Thailand 1958. He's got to get a better score than this. He's got to either get a first class bruiser and Confederate and a higher win 8, or he's got to get an ace tanker. And if he gets the ace tanker, he wins outright. But it's a high task to do that. But I really feel that Angelina's won this weekend. It's been Talent that's been winning over the past couple of weeks. But I think Angelina's going to come back with a really strong effort to get the weekend lion. And I think the bacon chef is going to have to get the bacon out and take the lady's order in advance, because I think tomorrow morning, yes, because it's Sunday tomorrow, he's going to be making the bacon. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.